Ladies and gentlemen, I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody that came out here on such a cold morning. Actually, it's almost balmy out. We're going to have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All approved? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or, okay, good. It's been passed. Approval of the minutes, December 21st, regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Minutes are approved. January 8th, special meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any approved or abstentions? Motion. The January 8th special meeting minutes are approved. President's remarks. As we gather today for our board meeting, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on something truly special that makes our community thrive. That's volunteerism. When we think about what makes our neighborhood more than just a collection of houses, we realize it's the people who live here, who step up, who dedicate their time, energy, and passion to make it a better place. Whether it's organizing a community event, maintaining our parks, or offering a helping hand to a neighbor in need, volunteers are the heart of our community. We're fortunate to be part of a community of 8,503 homes, each filled with people who care about their neighbors and spaces we share. Volunteerism is one of the most powerful ways we can make a difference, both for ourselves and for future generations. Every hour given, every skill shared, every act of kindness goes a long way in enhancing the spirit and unity of togetherness that we all cherish. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who already volunteered in some capacity, whether you're serving on a committee, participating in an event, or simply offering your time or expertise where it's needed. Your efforts do not go unnoticed. They're deeply appreciated. I also want to issue a call to action. If you haven't yet found a way to give back to the community, I encourage you to consider how you might get involved. There are countless opportunities, whether it's helping with a neighborhood cleanup, assisting in our outreach programs, or joining one of our committees, or running for your board of directors. Volunteering is not just about giving, it's about receiving as well. The sense of fulfillment, the connections you make, and the difference you see in your community, it can be incredibly rewarding. You'll not only help improve our shared spaces, but you'll also help build a stronger, more connected and vibrant neighborhood. As we move forward into another year, let's make a commitment to continue nurturing the spirit of volunteerism. Together, we can accomplish so much more. Let's work hand in hand, side by side, to create an even better place to live, work, and play. Thank you for your ongoing dedication to making this community truly an exceptional place. We're going to move forward to our GM report. John? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. I see the fire department here. Do they want to make a comment or anything? Okay.
Another Gene. Good morning, everyone. There we go. We're finally learning.
morning.
Okay. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for the opportunity to address everyone. Just a couple quick things. I know, as the president mentioned, it's a balmy 29 degrees outside. Hopefully we're pulling out of this cold spell. But with that said, it's still cold. It is still winter. We could still get another polar vortex or whatever they're calling it this year. Please be smart when we're heating our homes, okay? Number one, if you have any type of gas burning or wood burning appliances in your house, make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector. We recently had a call about a week ago where someone's hot water heater was leaking gas. It was leaking. The CO levels were almost over 100 parts per million in there. Thankfully, we were able to turn everything off and secure it, but if they didn't have a CO detector, they wouldn't have known about it, okay? And same thing when it comes down to the fireplaces, gas fireplaces, things like that. Also, make sure that we're not doing anything out of the ordinary to try to heat our homes. Let's not bring any generators inside. Let's also be careful with where we're using space heaters and things like that. With space heaters, you should only have them on if you are in the room and paying attention to them. If you go to bed at night, don't leave them on. If you leave your house, do not leave them on. I understand it's cold, but these are how these accidents happen. So just be careful with that. The other thing is, I just want to remind everybody, we're kind of in a little lull right now with our fundraising efforts. We're still doing our Queen of excuse me, our Queen of Hearts game is still going on right now, and we'll be launching some new fundraisers here in the next couple weeks, couple months. So look out for that. And then also, Chief Widgeon wasn't able to be here today, and I know that the police chief's going to address this probably in his remarks, but he just wanted me to thank the community for the outreach the other night when we had that missing child. I know myself, I was at the South Station coordinating efforts with volunteers that showed up, and we had over 134 members of our community show up just to try to help out. So thank you to everybody that did that. Thank you to all the efforts by the police chief and asking us to be a part of those efforts to try to help find this missing child. And thank you, and everyone have a great morning. Take care.
Thank you, Joe. He's the president. Chief, you want to say something about what he talked about? I know you did a lot, everybody did a lot.
Morning, my turn.
Uh,
All right. The first thing I want to just tell you about before we get into the incident from the other night, we've been a little busy since our last meeting, and the Ocean Pines Police Department's handled 132 traffic related incidents and traffic stops since our last board meeting. Of those, 38 have been for speeding, 23 have been either from stop sign or some sort of traffic control devices. We had a DUI arrest, one suspended driver, one uninsured driver. One thing I am pleased about is we handled 0 reportable motor vehicle collisions since our last board meeting. And we don't get a lot of those, but I might say reported one you had to do an accident report on. We've had 2 vandalisms. One we actually had to make an on-view arrest on. We've had 2 domestic assaults where we've had to make arrest. We also had one of those domestic assaults. We unfortunately had to go back and re-arrest the individual because he returned back to the house in defiance of a court order telling him not to go back. We've had 2 thefts by fraud, which is always concerning. We did have 1 burglary of a business down at the shopping center where down off of Nicholas Lane where somebody went into the tobacco store overnight. But we have handled, since our last board meeting, we've handled about 9 calls where we either do emergency petitions or do some mental health work. I want to talk to you also about, this, everybody knows about the incident we had this past week. I mean, it made a huge splash on social media. We were notified of the police department a little bit before 5, and when they called me and I was en route, and first thing I thought of, let's see if the fire department can be a part of this. Well, guess what? Luckily, my officers on the scene had already thought of that. Fire department came out en masse, and we had a great response. We had my whole team there that was working both the day and the evening shift. We had the fire department come out en masse. And one thing I'm pleased about, by the end of the day, we had between about 50 either law enforcement or volunteer firefighters there helping to search. We had the helicopter, the state police helicopter up. One of the first things they did was check the ponds to make sure that he wasn't in there. We also had the Ocean City Police Department with their thermal imaging drones checking the ground cover. They weren't able to find him. So it turns out that he was in a garage. So that does bring me a little comfort. He wasn't out in the cold, but he did come out after a while, and we did find him. One of the things I'm very pleased about with the support of the state police brought us their search manager, who I was very pleased with. And this guy comes in, and even though we're in command of the situation, he actually runs the search for us, and that's what this guy does. I mean, I'm so pleased with the job that this guy did. I mean, I'm going to actually give this guy a huge compliment or commendation sent up to the superintendent of the state police. That's how pleased I am when somebody comes here at Ocean Pines and drops what they were doing and comes up here. So I do want to thank the community and the concern. I mean, I was bombarded personally with text messages. Everybody asking, what can we do? What can we help? And that makes me feel great when I feel that everybody wants to come out. And then when I heard how many people at the firehouse, and then when I saw on social media that people were saying, we're on our way, it does warm my heart when I feel that everybody wanted to help. This is a great community, and hope it's a long time before we have something like this again, because it was cold. So, but thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief.
Chief. Okay. GM report. On the first slide, we just put out there a picture. By now, everybody knows Touch of Italy will be our new food and beverage contractor starting May 1st. We had a town hall meeting and it was, we got a lot of positive feedback. It went very well. All right, so this is both between Linda and myself. This is what we'll talk about today. Obviously, there's all the initiatives. We'll follow up on that, where we're at, as well as other items that we've been doing, plus the financial results for the month and the year to date. Touch Italy. We'll be hearing that name a lot come over next to my face. So it's a 5-year lease agreement. I've gotten many questions on that. Usually leases are 5 years. This is more standard in the industry, especially down here, a lease versus what we've had in the past. So we have a 5-year lease. It will begin May 1st. Like I mentioned, they will be managing the Yacht Club Clubhouse and the Beach Club. Town Hall was held on January 16th. What I'd like to tell everybody here is I have to say that about Bob and his team. They are fully engaged. They're already working on the transition. They are working on their menus. They're looking at what type of equipment we have. We're looking at what needs to be done there. I've mentioned before, we have committed and we were going to do the floor in the Beach Club among a few other items. But they are already on it with the bands. I know everybody was concerned about the bands. They probably have almost every date covered with them, and they are working with the banquets and working with the incumbent on that. They are noted for customer service and quality, and certainly seen it so far. Maintenance. So there's a before and after. So up at the Beach Club this past year, we did have we had a situation where somebody fell. What happened was the boards during the season started to buckle a little bit at the bottom of the stairs. So instead of just replacing them with wood like we've done in the past, we went concrete. You can see it on the right, and there's the cost. I think we got a real good cost on it. That should hopefully take care of that in the future. So here's one. I get this every year, and then the committees are on there, and it just seems to happen. This year, maybe we were a little slow because of everything else going on. We might have been a couple days later than we normally are. That floor is a floating floor in the gym. It does separate. You can see it on the left, that staircase. It's an easy fix. It's a maintenance item. We have it on the routine maintenance. And, outside of that, I believe the floor is okay. PWC slips, which stands for, Linda, personal watercraft. So I've talked about this before. Credit to Noby and the entire team as we enhance the opportunities here for different amenities. We are going to put in 6 slips, floating slips at the Swim and Racket Club. It'll go where there are 2 boat slips that we could not rent because the water was too shallow there. So we've gotten approval on it. We got everything's on order. It should be in by the beginning of the season. And you can see the cost is $20,000, but we believe the rental income just over several years will make that back. So please contact Ruth Ann Meyer at the front desk. There are 6. They're going quick. I already have 2, if not 4. But please get in there. The best way. Turn the page. All right, so here's the initiatives. Just follow up on it where we're at. So the Racket Sports Building, obviously with the weather, we're a little bit behind as far as starting, but the date I've received is obviously this coming week, the 27th. They've told us they'll be in there, and that's the Whaling Group. It's a renovation. It's mostly focused on what the feedback we've received over the years, the restrooms, the pro shop, and there will be an extension of the building, a couple feet on each side. Firehouse building, the status is still green. Obviously, we're in all the preliminary planning stages and everything. As I look over to Joe, I'm getting the nod. We're on the same page. I believe we're on track. Obviously, come March, April, May, Joe, myself, will be giving a lot more updates in these meetings, but so far, so good. I'm excited about it. I think everybody knows where I am on that. So the bridge, the canal bridge, that will start February 3rd now. Again, because of the weather, we have worked with Bob Beckelman and with Justin at the golf course. They have plans. There isn't really a lot of play then, but they will work it out that everybody's able to play 18 holes. So it'd probably take week and a half, 2 weeks to get it completed. It's definitely needed. driving range building is completed. It took longer than we thought. I can tell you that Matthew Ruggieri, who does a great job there, I was down there the other day. He invited me down. He's very pleased. It's a great building now, and sign up for lessons. I know I'm going for a lesson. I believe this lady over here is going for lessons. Bocce ball courts. This is a good one. This is new. Mike Galileo, I guess, and probably a lot of you know about it. He's probably got 100 people signed up for a bocce league. We did do work on the bocce courts to get them up to speed this past year. I'm glad we did. Now we're looking at potentially adding another bocce ball court, hopefully at the yacht club, so that when he does the tournaments and all the engagements on this, that they'll have the two courts. He gave me all the specs on it. We're working on it. I like to do a lot of it in-house. I think we can save on the cost estimates that he gave me. One thing I got to compliment the gentleman on, he didn't just say, we want bocce courts. He did a lot of legwork, and it's definitely helping us, and it will help us to expedite doing this work. Okay, with that, I'd like to hand off to Linda.
Okay, fiscal year. We're addressing public safety, maintenance, and infrastructure, including the fire department, FMLI, medical costs and liability insurance increases, and a pricing study was conducted.
I just want to add on that. It's on the website, the binder, all the paper. I know Linda, Josh continue to update it. There's been some minor revisions to it that we've, of course, gotten feedback from the board after the board did their review on it. But it is there for everybody to review. And of course, we do get a lot of calls, or we actually get a lot of questions on info at Ocean Pines on it. We probably got at least 12 or 15 just in the last couple of days. And I would thank that one person for sending all those questions in.
Okay, snow removal. We've had a few snow events, January 6th, 11th, and 21st. 10,000 was in the budget for snow removal, and we have surpassed that. Current cost is 27,519. That includes labor, overtime, contract for mailbox pad cleaning, and salt for the roads.
Listen, Linda, I just want to interject real quick. I don't think that the efforts of your snow removal group and everything that you did went unnoticed. It was a Herculean task on a monumental scale this last snow. And I just wanted to let you know that we feel that your team did an incredible job doing that. Thank you.
Yep, Public Works, they were working hard, and
Team effort.
so team effort, yes. Digital signs, location of signs approved by Worcester County on January 21st. Per approval, once signs are installed, remaining median signs will need to be removed. Directional signs will be able to remain, but all temporary signage will also be removed as well. The 4 additional signs that were approved in the last budget was Maitland Creek Road, Cathedral Road, Yacht Club Entrance, and Community Center. And all 4 signs are in stock, and Public Works will be assisting to install them when weather improves. Oh, yeah.
I was very excited.
Elaine, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was very excited to finally see this project get to the end phase now. And we will be, finishing getting all of the signage down our parkway. I think many of you have probably noticed, and I've mentioned this before, that the chief was, assigned the task of looking at all the signage that was down there and along the median, because we're not supposed to have signage on the medians. It's supposedly not allowed by the county. And he removed almost 80 signs that were unnecessary. And I think now as you drive down the parkway, it's actually a peaceful parkway. It's kind of a nice drive down there now. Once these digital signs get up at our entrance areas, those ones that have the messaging now will be removed. We'll repurpose those but it will look nice. Everything, will be this kind of signage in the commercial areas versus our residential areas.
You good?
Okay, metrics, CPI violations, 179 new violations, 176 closeout, leave a balance of 302. Permit expirations, were the hot topic this month. We're trying to close out old permits that weren't called in for finals. We're finding the majority are still not done after a year. So we are issuing violations for that, having people provide the information as far as if they did comply. But we are finding a whole bunch that have not finished the project after a year, so they have to do a resubmittal. So we're working on that, but we do have 302 still remain open, and 70 of the 302 are illegal. Work orders, 48 new work orders, 85 closed, leaving a balance of 42. That might be an all-time low. Majority are still in drainage, 29, 10 over 30 days, 9 over 60 days. But they're working on it once the ground thaws. And customer service, 43 emails and phone calls. And if you have any questions, just email info@chapines.org.
Thank you, Linda. We're going to move ahead to Treasurer's Report. Monica Rakowski.
Stuart, can I do the?
Oh, sorry. I knew I forgot something. Let's go back to John and the financial report.
Thank you, Stuart. Okay, so let's look at the month. The month is December. It's pretty close to what we did with the forecast, with the flash that Steve and I have issued in the past and spoke about. So at this time of the year, you look at the top and go to the top right. I have to report versus budget. We talk favorability, unfavorability, certainly not necessarily a surplus. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, but I've been talking about that for years. When you look at the amenities on the top in this time of the year, there are amenities, the golf course, you can see with the snow and everything. So it's more about our budgeting, but the amenities, we're kind of on track. If you look at the total, we're just off 4,000 from budget. So, but again, it's more about our budgeting accuracy at this time of the year with that. The rest is efficiencies, or some of it is timing. Rec and Parks, I'm very proud. You've heard me talk the last couple of months that I wasn't as much as far as what we did with the budget and everything like this. Big win for Rec and Parks. Most of it was the Vienna Boys Choir. So compliments to everybody up there, and they certainly did a turnaround there. And now they're on track with the budget. The police, the fire, pretty much on track. And then we had some favorability, Public Works, finance, and administration. There's a more efficiency. So in there is timing, efficiencies, and some good work. 90,000 favorable to budget. Let's go to the year to date. Really, at this time, December, we're in what, 8 months? So we're favorable. Go down to the bottom right corner. Somebody told me once, and they were right. They want to see the bottom number. So we're favorable, 660,000 to budget. So what does that mean? So that means that we will finish the year off. Forecasting is that we will finish favorable to budget. That money gets rolled over. It gets rolled over into the next cycle, the budget we're doing now, the drainage, the reserve. So it's not like this money is just, okay, now we have this extra money. It's all been encumbered. What's driving it? Well, obviously golf. I've been talking about golf for several years, and certainly the 5-year plan that we started 5 years ago, and compliments to everybody in the sense that we invested in this place. We invested in this building. We have invested in that golf course. This golf course will be in the black this year. It was in the black last year. When I say black, I'm not just saying operational, which is where I have to report. I'm talking about after depreciation. What does that mean? Simple layman's terms, it's not costing $1 to the association members. May not be able to say that on other amenities at this point, but we're certainly moving in the right direction. You can see when you go top right corner of the budget, basically all the amenities are favorable to budget, except one. And then the total is 200,000 favorable to budget. And then, of course, we have Public Works. We have favorability. There's the finance, the marketing, credit and marketing team. A lot of that is new organic revenue, and they continue to show favorability. 660. Last year, we were somewhere around favorable on $1 million. We're probably going to come in lower than that, but certainly pleased. And obviously, the objective is to get eventually where we're pretty much even. But again, all that money is utilized. It's going to be utilized in the next proposed budget as well as down the road. So the reserve summary, this is big. This is something that's going to come up definitely next year with the DMA study. We've talked about this. You have the general replacement, then bulkheads, roads. Now we have drainage and new capital. So the general replacement is somewhere around 5.5 million, 12/31 24. The projection for the end of the year, which would be for April 30th, 2025, we're projecting somewhere around $5 million. We are still doing work on the bulkheads, irrigation, and many other items, but the projection will be somewhere around $5 million, which is kind of in the ballpark of where we said we would be.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Now we're going to move ahead to our treasurer's report. Monica?
Thanks, Dale. As of December 31st, 2024, the association had approximately $15.1 million in cash. Cash decreased $600,000 from the same time period last year. Cash decreased $1 million from November of 2024. We have $8.7 million invested in CDARS. We realized $54,000 in interest income for the month. The remaining $6.4 million is insured cash sweep accounts, treasury bills, money market, and other operating accounts between two local banks. I do want to make a comment. It came up at the Budget and Finance meeting about the health of the banks that we're investing with. And certainly they're all monitored by state regulators and Fed regulators. Anytime anything would happen, we're notified. What was the one bank that out west that went belly up and they told us? Yeah.
We actually had TV with them, again, I can't remember, but in the words of Reed, John, here's where it works. We got our money immediately.
Right.
Immediately. So one of the, with the way they do it with the CDARS, no bank has more than $250,000. So even though we have millions, the way they spread it out with the CDARS, no bank has more than $250,000. It's sovereign, it was something with an S, but yeah, we got the money back immediately.
So
We've also been putting in our money in treasury bills and T-notes, so that'll balance out.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. We're going to move ahead towards public comments. Members wishing to make public comments must state their name and address, and your comments are only limited to 5 minutes. Open the chair. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, personal greeting. I like that. I'm Dave Tanner, residing at 65 Skyline Court. Ocean Pines has property restrictions. At every board meeting, we hear from the board authorizing the initiation of legal action, just as we heard this morning, against association members for having a yard sign on their lawn, the wrong color of their shed, or a host of other violations against the natural beauty of our community, including height restrictions. At the last board meeting, the board also voted to be a plaintiff in a suit against the wind towers 10 miles off the coast of Ocean City. The objection is for aesthetic reasons. The county is doing everything in its power to stop this approved project also. Against this backdrop, it is absurd that Ocean Pines administration has invited a cell tower contractor to come into Ocean Pines and put up an ugly tower in our residential community. The contractor would then attempt to lease space on the tower to cell phone carriers for profit. The Ocean Pines Board needs to put an immediate halt to discussions with a contractor to erect a tower in our community. Folks chose to live in Ocean Pines because of its natural beauty and the assurance that no commercial structures are going to be built in their neighborhood. Cell towers degrade property values and may have radio frequency health issues. The OP administration appears to have reacted to service comments about Verizon cell reception in OP. Whereas Verizon cell reception OP can be spotty at times, the administration is misguided, thinking that a cell tower within our community is going to solve the issue. There's been no due diligence to find the actual cause of the reception problems. Defacing our community with a cell tower is not the answer. Consumers have the choice of lots of other cell carriers with better service. We have cell towers all around us, just outside the Ocean Pines boundaries, the largest of which is close to the North Gate. That cell tower was put up by and is owned by Ocean City. They lease space to AT&T, T-Mobile, and possibly others. Many cell companies also contract with these major carriers to use their network. If it can serve Ocean City, it's obviously can service Ocean Pines. Verizon has their tower close by, just behind the Pines Plaza. Verizon's a huge national company. They can deal with having a tower with not having a tower right in the middle of a residential community. When our dependable county commissioners appropriately denied Verizon's application to put a tower in the county wastewater property in OP, the county offered up the existing 2 water towers located centrally within Ocean Pines. Water towers are used extensively by cell carriers. Although there is some interest, as far as I know, no cell carrier has taken advantage of the county's offer. However, to their credit, Verizon did put up a new tower within yards of Ocean Pines. That tower is near the King Richard Road extension next to the new Triple Crown development that is part of Ocean Pines. The reason Verizon wanted the wastewater site was not so much to service Ocean Pines, but to service Route 90 in Ocean City. Suppose that folks backed up on 90 getting into Ocean City on a Saturday in the summer make lots of use of their cell phones. After the county denied the tower at the wastewater site, Verizon appropriately met the Route 90 Ocean City demand by installing 4 very low cell tower stations along 90, including where 90 leaves Ocean Pines and heads over the water. So in short, our little community is surrounded by cell towers and more than adequate coverage is available. Leasing space is available on most of the existing towers. Fixing any reception issues is in the hands of the consumer. The consumer should be driving change if they are not happy with their service that they're getting. In most cases, the consumer can fix reception issues on their own. They just have to Google, how can I improve my cell service? The consumer is not happy with Verizon, they can switch to a different carrier that has better service and keep their phone number. I've heard some fear mongering that people might not be able to get cell reception in an emergency. This is not true. When you dial 911, your call has priority. First, it will look for a signal from your carrier. If that isn't there, it will automatically use any signal it can find from any carrier. And if you happen to be out in the middle of nowhere and there are no towers, newer phones will connect to 911 via satellite. You don't even need a cell phone contract to connect. If you have no service with a carrier, cell companies are legally required to provide 911 services. There is no safety issue. On the contrary, using your cell phone allows 911 to pinpoint your location. As Stuart mentioned earlier, this is a great place to live. I love Ocean Pines. I appreciate you mentioned all the
You
volunteers.
reached your 5-minute max.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just wanted to thank you, and I'd like Ocean Pines to each board
Thank you,
member.
David.
vote
Listen,
against it.
I want to address a couple of the things that Mr. Tanner discussed. Folks, there is no plan to construct a cell phone tower at this time. There's no planned construction. There's no planned site. The only thing our chief decided to look into was the safety issue of getting through on 911. If you can't call 911 without service, it is a safety issue. But at this time, there is absolutely no planned construction, no site, no contractor. I don't know where, Dave, I don't know where you got this information, but it's absolutely patently false. Dave, I'm telling you, it's patently false. He's looking into ways to increase cell phone reception. There was never talk of a new tower. Okay, thank you. We're going to move further. Yes, Jeffrey.
I just want to make one comment, Dave. We really do appreciate you talking about this, but your premise on the wind turbines is highly inaccurate. You said that we're doing this for aesthetic reasons. That's not the case at all. We talked about radar masking, whale and other marine life, maintenance challenges out in the ocean, failure and potential ecological nightmares. And there's better means available to produce clean energy. There's a whole host that we talked about. It was not built on aesthetics.
Thank you, Jeff. Moving on, I'm sorry, John.
It doesn't make it true. To Stu's point, we've had zero conversation. And a lot of folks are now believe that this is happening, which is not. And I'm glad Stu was able to clear that up. I just don't know where you get the information. And it just causes some angst with folks in our community. And there's no reason for it.
Thank you, John. We're moving on. Any other public comments? Please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you're limited to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Morning. Karen Kaplan.
Good morning.
32 Chatham. Okay, I have 3 questions. I note that in the budget binder, Ocean Pines is absorbing $170,000 in credit card fees at the amenities, and that doesn't include any credit card fees they're absorbing for people who sign up with for their annual, pay their annual dues, because I couldn't find that figure. Paying a convenience fee for credit cards is routine at gas stations and utilities. Will there be a convenience fee on fuel purchased with a credit card at the marinas in 2025? That's my first question. What? Sorry?
John, you want to take this?
I'm sorry, Karen, it's about comment,
Go ahead.
especially if the board asked me to, of course, Karen, like
It's
I
not a
always
debate,
do.
it's just an answer.
Yeah, so the answer is, I don't know where you're getting this from. We haven't charged it at the marina, and there is, you're looking at the binder, right? The budget binder, there's nothing in there for fees at the marina, right?
No, I
Nor-
know,
Nor any of the other, any of the amenities, we do not charge
I know.
a credit card. So I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, I think, since it's done, since they are collected when you pay your utilities, I don't know why we can't collect it.
Oh, okay, you want us to review that? I certainly will.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. Now I understand what you're saying.
All right.
Yep, I'll look at it.
Next comment. Actually, it is a question. So speaking as president of the Platform Inspect Tennis Club, at the January 8th board budget meeting, John Viola spoke about a 3-year plan with a trajectory of, this is for membership rates, a 3-year plan with a trajectory of $500 for individuals and $800 for family, reaching that at 3 years. As of today, is this the plan?
Go ahead, John.
Stuart. So, and I did say it in 3, and it's still a 3-year plan on how we're addressing it there. You might be, what I talked about was when we would be going to one type of racket sport. The feedback we received from the board, we adjusted for that. So that's the answer to your question there, unless I'm missing what you're saying.
Is that the trajectory over the next 3 years?
So we're looking at, when you see the numbers, if you're looking at numbers, which I know you do, and I compliment you on that, the MO2 states that we should be at minimum with our membership fees, trying to break even operational, a minimum. So even with the proposed increases, we won't be there yet. So that's what I'm talking about over a 3-year period.
Okay, because you did mention those figures.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the figures in my
It's
head
not a
there.
back and forth. You can continue on with your comments if
Okay.
you like.
One last comment. We all know golf is doing great. The 5-year plan just went terrific as planned. We have a great facility. Everybody's happy with it. It's generating revenue. Just my comment is I wish that we had a 5-year plan for the Racket Center. The first 3 years of the golf plan, the revenue was not positive, but now we are. And I wish there was a vision for the Racket Center as for golf. And that's it. And I thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you're limited to 5 minutes.
Morning, Amy Peck, 109 Whitehorse Drive. My public comment is regarding the budget. At least 5 versions of the budget have been posted online, December 28th, January 8th, 14th, 20th, and today I note that there's a new one. But the changes are very hard to track, as the budget sheets are not dated, nor are they redlined to show modifications. Some perceive the absence of these notations as a lack of transparency. Redlining the changes would build community confidence. So I am asking that the board consider making that a policy change. Here are some examples of Racket Center budget changes. Individual sport memberships available on December 28th disappeared by January 8th. And there was a combo sport membership offered at $500 and $800. Then that changed. Different drop-in rates for tennis still existed on January 8th, but vanished by January 14th. Drop-in fees were then raised. There were new categories for 80-plus-year-olds and youth that appeared on January 14th, only for the senior rate to disappear on January 20th. And today I note that non-resident rates in fees were lowered. Again, redlining these changes would be so helpful. Comments from directors comparing the Racket Center to aquatics and mentioning members playing different seven sports show a lack of understanding of the Racket Center demographics. 74% of the players are over the age of 65. Many are on fixed incomes, yet the proposed rate has raised rates by 50%. The GM at the last budget review has cited the plan to continue to raise these rates over the next 3 years. Amenity policy guidelines suggest that as a nonprofit, organic growth of membership should drive the Racket Center revenue. MO2 states, quote, fees should be staked to provide association members and guests added value when comparing to competed facilities and services in the area, end quote. MO2 has an entire section devoted to customer satisfaction and the importance of growing membership. It states, quote, effective customer satisfaction will be achieved only if association management, employees, processes, and technologies work in synergy to increase membership use and thereby improve customer service. You are offering a proposed expensive combo-only membership to a customer base that does not want it. We do not want it. This combo membership previously only attracted 27 memberships, and presently the budget projection is 489. That seems highly optimistic. So I'm here today asking that you follow MO2 and consider growing membership and customer service when voting on the upcoming budget. I want you to protect Ocean Pines' investment in the Racket Center and ensure it remains affordable for its members. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John, you wanted to have oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Amy, thank you for your comments, but again, your premise of playing multiple sports is highly inaccurate. It has nothing to do with what has been proposed as a Racket Center fee. It's all about covering our costs. It doesn't matter if anybody wants to play multiple sports. That's up to the individual. What we're trying to do is provide a first-class Racket Center, have the money to do all the maintenance, and eventually cover all our costs, including depreciation.
Now, this is not a back and forth. Any other public comments? Yes, sir. Come up to the,
So,
I'm sorry, John, you wanted,
Sir,
one
fine.
second, sir.
Sir.
1 second. Yeah, John.
all right, so thank you, Stuart. So a couple things. First, I think Karen, I've explained this to you before, and if you look, we built more. We included more resources. They wanted a director. You wanted a full-time maintenance person. We put all that in there. And now we're looking at the pricing. We're benchmarking. We're doing everything we did at golf. It's the same thing. It's the same drill. Number two, and I think this is the other lady on that. A budget is, it's not static, it's virtual. A lot of the timeframes you spoke about was when we get the feedback from budget and finance, we get the feedback from the board, and then we go and adjust it. We put it out there, we keep it out there, because if I don't have it or we take it down, or by accident last year because of the website, then I hear we don't put it out there. So then when we do put it out there, there's this other, whatever you're saying, sensationalizing. Some of them were small changes that we put out there. Obviously, you didn't have a problem finding the changes. We can note them, but if you go back and listen to what the board told us, the feedback we received from them and Budget and Finance, we went in and adjusted. Here's a new term, cherry picking. When you look at numbers and you look at percentages and everything, sure, you can always cherry pick. You got to look at the whole picture. You can look at something that's a percentage, 47%, but we looked at the benchmarking. We did the pricing. We looked at all the inflation factors over 5 years. We spelled it all out, and that's what it came to. Obviously, now it's up to the board. So hopefully I answered your questions there. I will talk to Steve. We'll try to pinpoint or at least put out there what we hear on the feedback from the board and Budget and Finance. So
Thank you,
hopefully
John.
I answered it. Yep.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next public comment. Sir, step up to the podium, your name and address, and you're limited to 5 minutes.
Sure. Greg Lambert, 55 Skyline Court. There is an email chain in Harbor Village that's going around, and it's mostly concerned about surveys. So it appears to be 2 surveys going on in Harbor Village. One appears to be for the related to the bulkhead, but then there's another one. So I just wanted to know if anyone knows what Ocean Pines surveys are happening in Harbor Village, and let's just put it to rest.
I'm going to let Elaine respond real quick to that. Get Elaine.
Yeah, I believe I know what that probably is for. The Glen Riddle wastewater treatment plant has, for the last several years, been trucking over their waste to our facility because theirs no longer works. They are in the process, I think, of pipelining it to us. So that's what the survey is for.
Great.
It's for that. It has nothing to do with the cell towers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yeah, come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you're limited to 5 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Laura Pangratz. I live at 2 Harpoon Road. I just have a couple of quick comments. I haven't spoken in a while, but I would like to first thank, I saw a post on social media about how after the big storm, a group of volunteers cleaned off the and forgive me because I am not a sports person at all, but the courts outside so that members could still play during the winter and everything, not putting any additional work on the whoever maintains that. But I think that was a prime example of what volunteering means and comes together. And they worked as a team and they got it done because that is something they are passionate about, right? And they wanted to be able to play even in the winter, which I'm a warm weather gal, so I'm not playing outside. But however, I do think, and I am a lifelong volunteer. That is what I do. That is, I mentor, I participate in mediation. But one of the first things that I like to say is that, you know, we don't all have to be best friends. But what we do need to do is respect each and every opinion and thought and voice that has made a statement today, that decides to volunteer on a committee or in an event or just, you know, something that's not even a specific related event to help your neighbor and all of that. But what I tend to hear that causes me a little bit of worry is if we don't have the same mainstream thought processes, we're told that we're not valid. We're told that we're not, that our information is incorrect. Now, it may be incorrect. However, at that time that the person makes the statements, that is their truth and that is what they are thinking is out there. So if we're going to correct them, let's do it nicely and not imply that it was a waste of their time to come up and speak. And I would also like to put a word of caution out there that this is a prime time to not dissolve committees and everything. It's very hard to drum up volunteers when you remove committees because of things that have happened, and we don't need to rehash all of that. But what I'm saying is moving forward, we should, if we're going to ask for volunteers, we should not be saying, oh, they didn't agree with us or whoever happens to be in charge at that moment, and get rid of it. Because then that's not being a true volunteer. So I would like to just encourage all of us to continue to work together, to continue to value each and every one of our opinions, thoughts, perspectives, experience when we're out here. And we should not have to, no one should ever have to feel like they're on the defensive about their thoughts. None of us are always going to be right 100% of the time. But that is just something that in my experience, I'm a PTA person, that has its own connotations, I'm sure, but it is so hard to get people to volunteer. We should not do anything that deters that. We should encourage. Side note on this, you all know, most of you know that I do work at the Atlantic General Hospital as a chaplain. I would like to give my little word of warning. Please take care of yourselves, wash your hands, do all that good stuff, because there is a rise in the flu and all of the respiratory illnesses and stuff like that. And the majority of the patients there are in their 70s and 80s. So check on your neighbors and, help them out. But if you're in a crowd and you're not feeling well, running a little bit of fever, please stay home. I don't want to have to come visit you. Or if you want me to visit, let's do it not at the hospital. So just as a, PSA on just trying to keep ourselves healthy during this winter time when the germs love to be out there. So I think that's it for today. Thank you.
Laura, thank you very much. Any other public comments? Seeing no other public comments, I'm going to close the floor to public comments. We're going to move over to CPI violations. Linda?
All these cases had per resolution MO1, and the violation continues. We're recommending that all of them violations before the legal and suspend voting and amenity rights. 88 Seafarer Lane, 37 Garrett Drive, 628 Ocean Parkway, 8 Willow Way, 48 Camelot Circle, 9 Chestnut Way, and 5 Sassafras Lane.
Do I have a second to move? Do I have a motion to move 88 Seafarer, 37 Garrett, 628 Ocean, 8 Willow, 48 Camelot, 9 Chestnut, and 5 Sassafras to legal and suspend voting and amenity rights? Do I have a second? Oh, do I have a motion? Motion. Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we're moving all of these over to legal. Their voting rights and amenity rights have been suspended. Unfinished business, I see none. That brings us to new business. Okay, Steve.
Moving for make a motion for a second reading of resolution M09. I need a second. Thank you.
Any discussion?
You
going to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The motion is to consider and adopt revisions to M09. The proposed resolution would amend the current version of M09 concerning the search committee, candidate applications, and other changes. At the time of the first reading of M09, it was noted that the bylaws of the Ocean Pines Association provide for the OPA president's appointment of a search committee subject to the confirmation by the board, with the provision that the lack of a search committee has no effect on the validity of the election. In addition, the application form for candidates to run for the board has also been changed and should be an attachment to the resolution. The attached red line version, as well as the copy of the resolution M09, reflect the suggested edits provided by council and subsequently reviewed and approved by the bylaws committee. Over the past several years, the search committee has not been appointed. As noted in the background section, whether a search committee was appointed by the president and confirmed by the board, the absence of the committee has no impact on the validity of the election. Need for a search committee has been discussed before, including during the last major review and modification of the OPA's bylaws. It should also be noted that the suggested changes to M09 remove redundant or incorrect provisions, aligns responsibilities relating to the role of the association secretary with our bylaws, adds the correct candidate application form, and makes minor formatting modifications and technical and conforming corrections as well.
Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call in question. All in favor? This is second reading, so
Yes.
we vote on this, right? Okay. All in favor on the motion to pass for the second reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Your second reading on the inclusion for adoption of Resolution M09 is passed. Okay, we're moving further to Ocean Pines Good Neighbor Program. Elaine Brady.
Yes, this is something uplifting for today. The Communications Committee is asking the board to establish a good neighbor program, something that the committee will work on. But there's so many people, and I think what's been talked about somewhat today is that we have lots of volunteers. We have lots of folks doing nice things with their neighbors. And that committee would like to have someone recognized every month as, the good neighbor of that month. They'll come before the board, we'll congratulate them. And we've also been told we'll be able to give away a $50 gift certificate to the yacht club for that person. And these are for things small and large. And the committee will put out a press release on it, but they are going to manage that. They'll ask people to send in information on folks that they would like to have to be the good neighbor of the month, and vote on it, and we'll have them come here. So I'd love to see everybody, on the board vote to go along with it. I think it's a great positive thing for our community, something small but meaningful to some people.
Elaine, what are the next steps?
The next steps is really for us to say yes. And then after that, the committee is going to just take care of it.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Yeah, Monica.
so this will stay with the Communications Committee?
Correct.
Okay. No.
They'll make that, they will take in the, the folks who are thought to be in consideration, and then they'll make that determination. So really our role will just simply to congratulate them. And
How does the process with the communication committee gaining those names come? How does that happen?
I think they're going to work that out, how they'll do it, probably on a PR basis, and then they'll have an email that somebody can, put
Okay.
nominations on.
Anybody not good with this? Okay. All in favor of Elaine going forward, and we say yes and give a kudo, say aye. Okay, thank you, Elaine.
Thank you. The committee will be very happy.
We're going to move further with appointments. Michael Gallo, co-chair of the Architectural Review Committee. Mary Hassler, first-term Aquatics. Ken Meekins, first-term Architectural Review. And Gary Murray, co-chair of the Architectural Review. We're going to take this as a group. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor of these candidates for appointments to the various committees, can you signify by saying aye? All approved. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. They are appointed. We're moving towards adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn our meeting? All in favor? Second, all in favor? Your meeting is adjourned.